Welcome to the third season of the What's Your Story podcast with your host, Ron Coughlin. This podcast dives into the exciting world of AI for marketers. Each episode, we chat with some of the top marketing leaders and educators who are using AI to transform their strategies. Get ready to discover how AI is revolutionizing marketing and learn how you can leverage these powerful tools to help grow your business and career. We look forward to you joining us for an exciting discussion each week about the power of AI.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the What's Your Story podcast. Once again, this is your host, Ron Coughlin, bringing you our third season of the What's Your Story podcast. And, this week we have a really great guest. It's someone that I met at Google, of all things. So I used to take my class, digital marketing class, and my hospitality e-business and technology class to Google every year. And Ceren Koca, she was the one that took on us one year. There's some other years, but she took us for a tour and did a really nice talk. And so I'm really glad to have you here, Ceren. So how you been?
It's been great. Honestly, I loved your kids. They were just such great students. It was such an amazing time touring with them.
Yeah, so I understand you have you've left Google, your dream job, to pursue a master's degree of all things at a very lowly college called Harvard, of all places. And also, you're going to MIT at the same time, I hear. So maybe you could get us up to speed and tell us what prompted you on this decision, and why would you leave your dream job? I don't understand. No.
Honestly, I get that question all the time. I'm currently questioning that myself amidst the midterm season. Like, why did I do this to myself? In all seriousness, this has been in the works for a very long time for me. Education has been a big core value in my family. It's actually what lifted my family out of poverty. So I've deeply benefited from the sacrifice my parents made to pursue education. So, and
cool.
now, as a result of that, I'm actually the least educated in my family. My parents both have, PhDs in physics. They're physics professors. They studied higher energy physics. So going back to academia was always part of my value system, and getting more educated. I never thought that I could get into Harvard, and it was truly a dream come true when I was accepted. And honestly, my managers at Google had a big part to play in that. They supported me by writing my reference letters, and they championed my dream. So in big part, I'm here thanks to them. And then, on the other hand, this is very much an intellectual pursuit. So I have the privilege of getting to pursue some of my intellectual curiosities. I've always been interested in human behavior. But now I'm also really interested in understanding human intelligence with artificial intelligence, right? This passion started to evolve through Google as well, actually. Back in Google Toronto, one of my most memorable experiences was getting to meet Geoffrey Hinton. If you might know, he's called the godfather of AI. He just won the Nobel Prize, right? So having to, getting to hear him speak and getting to see his research really influenced me in my time there. So I'm also here to just better understand this technology and learn more about it.
So that's quite the journey. I think that Google, you're in Toronto, you went around the world, now you're here doing school. But how do you see these two fields intersect in terms of what you used to do and what you're doing now here at Harvard?
I mean, that's a great question. I think we live in a time where we invest more in AI than we do in humans, right? For me, though, it's crucial that AI serves as a tool to advance human capability and help us understand ourselves better and make our lives easier. So I think the intersection of what I used to do, which is a lot of applied behavioral science, and AI is where I think the magic can happen. That's what I'm trying to build. So for instance, how can you actually use AI to improve human development? Today, if we just look at it from a technology lens, like you could build an AI tutoring system, right, for kids that teaches kids math. But if you don't understand how children's minds develop, how they build confidence around math, the biases against math, handle frustrations, and develop metacognitive skills, So then how can you create a system that's going to be useful if it doesn't understand that? If you just focus on the concepts and the technology, you might actually hinder development goals, right? And we see that in healthcare because um, we know AI is doing really well with diagnostic tools, right? They're very
Hmm.
accurate, but they lack empathy and bedside manner. And that's actually crucial for patient care. So we've seen studies where, yes, an AI can outperform human doctors sometimes in diagnostic accuracy, but it can't replicate the trust building and the emotional support that is needed to get patients to adhere to, let's say, treatment plans or take their medication. So, how can we intersect those two things and marry them? I think so then we can use innovation to actually further humanity, right? Not just to build technology. So I'm really interested in this space. I'm trying to learn more and try to bridge two different fields together.
That's very cool. So if we dive a little deeper here, actually, you can use AI for social good. And I understand you've been doing some work with AI with the UN, and I found that fascinating. So maybe you want to explain to everybody what you've been doing because it's just amazing the work that you've been doing and how it can help others. And it's fueled with AI of all things. So maybe you could help us understand what you've been doing.
Yeah, this is one project I'm particularly excited about. And so we're working with the UNFPA, one of the UN agencies, to really address maternal and reproductive health care for women and mothers, particularly in Central and Western Africa. So in this region, particularly, there is very, very high mortality rates for mothers. A mother dies nearly every 2 minutes from something that was preventable, a preventable pregnancy complication. And this equates to, I think, roughly like 160,000 women that have died annually. And that's double the rate of death compared to the global average. And so, as you can imagine, losing a mother is so devastating for an individual, but it's even more devastating for society. Um, and so, I think what we're trying to solve this challenge, and when looking at sort of the diagnostic of the root causes, we saw that 90% of these deaths were preventable. So why were they preventable? Well, the root causes were multifaceted. So like
Mhm.
a lot of these areas don't have access to doctors. They don't have access to electricity. They don't have access to basic ultrasounds or medical equipment, right? They have one midwife for 5,000 people. So these are dire circumstances.
Yeah.
So, what can we do to bring diagnostics and medical support to areas where we don't have the resources? And this is where the AI powered ultrasounds come in.
Mm.
So, this is a really, really cool technology. It's this portable ultrasound that you can actually plug into a phone. And on your phone, there's a software or an app, right, that is powered by AI that can actually detect the images from the ultrasound. So we have this six sweep method, which is a well documented method. It's three sweeps up of a mother's belly and three sweeps to the side. And by doing those sweeps with the ultrasound, the software can actually detect risks from the ultrasound image um, as accurate as a sonographer would, which is really, really
Wow.
cool. So you can see things like gestational age, fetal representation, if there's multiple gestations, right? And if there's any risk that is predicted from here, you get like a green, yellow, or red light. So if you have a red light, that means there's high risk. And at that point, a mother who is in a rural village is then sent through a referral system to a doctor in the city.
Mm.
What this does is it increases the speed at which risks are detected and can save lives. Because most midwives, they can't detect these risks sometimes until it's too late. And so this is really, really exciting capability that AI can bring. It's actually impacting lives. And so we're hoping to deploy these in several countries in the next year.
Very cool. Well, that's exciting, and I'm hoping to learn more. I hope you post about it on LinkedIn or something so we can
I
learn more.
definitely
But
already have, definitely will
yeah.
continue.
So, you were in the world of marketing and selling products from Google
Mhm.
and educating clients and working with education partners like Humber and George Brown. But what are the kind of the potential social impacts that AI will actually potentially keep you up, can keep all of us up at night or keeps you up at night, do you think?
That's a really good question. I mean, as someone who's been at Google and at tech for the last 6 years, we have a tendency of being overly optimistic because we've been so used to this technology already. You know, it's not new to us, although it's mainstream now. We've been using it in digital marketing for years, but there are, of course, very, very important risks that need to be managed. One of them, I think, is the potential for AI to exacerbate inequalities and biases, right, in our society. So if our AI algorithms and systems are not carefully designed and deployed, they could amplify societal biases. We've seen some of this with like AI powered hiring systems that have been found to discriminate against women and minorities in some cases because they were designed by the humans that have those biases, right?
Yeah.
I think even in the use of AI, what's really interesting is there's a large gender gap when it comes to who is using AI today. And there's like a study that was released with 100,000 individuals across, I think, 26 countries, if I remember correctly. And unanimously across countries, across industries, women are not working and using AI as much as men are. So there's
Oh,
already a
wow.
gender gap. Yep. And that's really important because AI is going to create competitive advantage for those who are able to use it. So how do we close that gender gap? Of course, with this new technology and any new technology, it creates shifts in jobs as well, right? So automation, job displacement. We already saw that era. AI, what is that going to do? Are we going to create new jobs? Are we going to eliminate existing jobs? Are we going to change them? We have to proactively address this transition period. Um, and then, of course, data privacy and surveillance, right? AI systems have become really sophisticated at analyzing personal data. So there's high risk of erosion of privacy and surveillance. Like if you do look at those large language models like ChatGPT and Gemini, it says very clearly someone could be reviewing your chat, which is quite embarrassing for me if they do so. But these are all important things that we have to prepare as a society, build laws, legislations against.
Hmm.
And I think like the last thing that I will say is I think we have a tendency to be fearful of new technology. But like with any new technology, even the internet, it can be used for good and it can be used for bad.
Hmm.
Technology itself isn't the problem, it's how people use it that causes harm. And it's just a mirror that reflects our own humanity and our flaws and everything that comes with it.
Yeah, in terms of humanity, there's good people and bad people, right? And
Yeah.
so because of that, unfortunately, there's a dark web, and there's people that aren't so honest and aren't don't have good values, and that's the fear of some with this
Yeah.
platform that might get into the AI, and that
Yeah.
could be a problem.
It,
So
it,
shifting
yeah.
gears a little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off
Well,
there. So.
no, I was just gonna say, like, because of that, we're gonna see a whole new field of like legal policies and regulations around AI to try and control how it's used. Like in California, they just launched a new law, an AI law, that requires developers to post information on exactly what data they use to train their AI systems. And if something
Mm.
is AI, right? We're going to see more of this become very important in the next couple of years.
Very true. And so shifting gears a little bit, if you look at this transforming environment of the digital world and what's happened over those, especially the last couple of years, and how in terms of digital marketing and tools to be used, generative AI tools to help build content and creative elements. What are some of the exciting developments that you might see coming ahead? Because there's been a lot, and obviously, and in 6 months, there'll be more that we don't know about. But what do you see happening in the future coming up?
I mean, even before going into the future, I do need to say that we have been using AI for the last 6, 7 years in digital marketing already, right? I think
Secretly.
it's, I mean,
Yeah,
secretly not so secret. I think it just hasn't been mainstream, right?
right.
Like LLMs, when we say large language models, is a subset of AI that has become super popular and now widely used as individuals. But machine learning has been used for decades. And so, for example, in digital marketing, how have we been using that? Through the power of personalized marketing and advertising,
Mhm.
right? So, as you know, through social media advertising, you can reach your ideal customer and achieve incredible results because of this personalization. So AI has been able to take vast amounts of data on users' searches and customer lists and website traffic, search trends, social media activity, and then create detailed profiles so that advertisers can essentially reach the right person at the right time with the right message, so that it's relevant and helpful for the user. And what AI has been doing in the back end also is monitoring how your digital campaigns are performing, right? They're analyzing that performance in real time. So let's say you're not reaching the right users, that machine can actually now try to change the ad, change the targeting so that you can get better results in real time. And then, of course, on the
Yes.
LLM side, LLM is just like your new team of experts in marketing now, right? You basically have researchers at your fingertips, translators, expert writers, copywriters, 24/7. That's what LLMs are offering, and it's reducing the workflow speed, the time, sorry, to create content, to write blog posts, social media, create ads, scripts,
Mhm.
rapidly.
Actually, that's something in one of my classes. So at George Brown College, I teach a class called marketing. It's actually hospitality marketing and
Yeah.
social media. But within that class, one of the labs we do, and we did it this week, is using AI tools. We introduce them to AI tools. We talk a little bit about, we get them to tell us a little bit of what they know so far. A lot of them say, well, I use it to cheat on tests and different things like that. And I
Oh
explain
no.
to them how the college and the universities, we're all giving up. We're now at a point where we can't fight it. So we're at the point where we need to use it as a learning tool, and we
Yeah.
need to teach them how to use it so they're competitive in the marketplace when they get a job later on. So
Yeah.
I introduced a number of tools to them today. And one of the ones that I had them to explore even further was something called InVideo.io.
Mm-hmm.
InVideo, as most of everybody knows, is a tool you can use to create awesome videos with very little time and input. And
Yes.
so they're given a task within a 20-minute span to pick a hospitality brand, a tourism brand, whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
to create a 15-second video ad. And I give them that time, and I can tell you it's pretty fascinating with the limited amount of time what they come up with.
Yeah.
And one of my other classes before this, um, it was it was a post grad class in marketing last year. Was one of these students, I know her name's Mia, and Mia had used AI quite a bit in a former job she had had. And so when I asked her to do this task, she came up with her group a polished ad that you could run right now, and buy space on Meta and push it out there. It was so well
Yeah.
done, and for that
Yeah.
reason, I hired her as an intern. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
That's
because I
amazing.
said, if you can do that in 20 minutes,
Yeah.
I got to see how you did that. And what she basically did was use multiple forms of AI platforms,
Mm-hmm.
everything from
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT to Canva to different things, and then
Mm-hmm.
merge them into the InVideo.io platform, use their
Mm-hmm.
platform, and it created this incredible video. So it was pretty cool.
I would love to see that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
But you make a really good point in that AI is now a tool for humans to make their lives easier, and it doesn't replace that job. You still need a human
Mhm.
to build these things, right? But it makes the workflow more interesting, more creative. Sometimes it's worse, right? But like it kind of reminds me of when calculators came out. Um,
Yeah,
Before, if you're going to solve a math equation, right, you have to do it by hand, and then calculators allowed you to do it at like in seconds, right? And when calculators first came out, there used to be protests and riots that was gonna, cause people to lose jobs. And it's very similar now, right? In that
yeah.
it's a tool for us. It's not going to replace us.
And recently I have a future son-in-law, and he's starting
Mm-hmm.
a dog training business just on the side.
Yeah.
So I created a website for him through Wix.
Mm-hmm.
And the copy, because I didn't have a lot of time, I just wanted to show him what it could be like. I took copy from other places, put it into AI, made it its own, and developed a quick website for him in about an hour. And it's it's pretty cool. And he loved it. So he may just now he's like, what do I need to add to this? And I put a lot of cute pictures from all our old dogs we had and
Yeah.
different and his dog and different things. So it's pretty cool.
Oh,
I had a lot of fun doing it and I actually use Gemini Advanced because I have
mhm.
that
Yep.
to come up with the copy
Mhm.
and the tonality of the copy and how I wanted it and et cetera, et cetera. So what kind of
Yeah.
advice do you have for organizations if they're trying to deploy AI within their organization?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we're seeing now almost every company pop up with some sort of AI product. If you remember one of Google's IOs, I think the last one where there's like a clip of Sundar saying AI like 128 times, everything is AI now, right?
Yeah,
But recent research that actually Rational Labs did found that, people don't necessarily want to pay more just because it has the word AI in it, right? For
no.
a product. It's not about the AI label, it's about the utility of the product. So it's going back to basics, right? It's about what you're creating and does it provide genuine value for customers? Does it make their life easier? Does it solve their pain points? And so sometimes, slapping the word AI onto things may even make it like less attractive, especially when there's still skepticism going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's one of my advices for organizations, still to focus on the core utility of what you're building. And if AI can facilitate that, fantastic. I think the second is not to underestimate the importance of onboarding, right? So I think, you and I are more comfortable with AI right now, but majority of people are still learning and are still skeptical and scared to adopt new technology. So you need to teach people how to use AI. And I saw this myself, right? I have a lot of friends at Harvard who never used AI, and I'm like, you should use it to help you
Mm-hmm.
understand your research. And despite telling them is not enough. As a behavioral scientist, I know that, right? But actually sitting down and showing them and just taking 5 minutes to quickly give them an onboarding, and now they're off to the races. They're power users. And so I don't see a lot of organizations doing that. Even if you like pop onto Gemini or ChatGPT, there's no instruction step by step teaching you how to write a prompt, right? How to navigate working and talking to an AI, what kind of things you can ask. Um, and then thirdly, make changes bite sized, right? I like to use a Spotify example of like, you can't move a listener from pop country to classical music potentially, but you could move a pop country listener to folk, right? So big changes are hard, but small changes are possible. So make small bite-sized changes and increments. Um, and then, okay, last advice is leveraging social norms. We're social creatures, right? We are motivated by what others are doing, especially when it comes to adopting something new. And research shows that you're more likely to use AI if you know people who are using AI, or if you have a manager that supports you in using AI. So, creating a supportive ecosystem can really boost adoption. Okay, and
Yeah,
then last
I
one.
think you're right in terms of that, in terms of support. My son works for an insight marketing group. It's called Influence Marketing, I believe, in
Mm-hmm.
Toronto, and they have some pretty high powered clients like Drake and some of the Raptors and different things
Yep.
like that. But he's
Mm-hmm.
using AI every day to help respond to clients, to build information, to sell his concepts and ideas through, and it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool. So my son, his name's Mark, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw him using it the other day. I went, aha! So that's so that's cool.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think like even like you said, you can't fight it in the
yeah.
schools. Like even Harvard has an AI policy. It doesn't say you can't use it. It's just to use it ethically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that support actually, and there's like AI sandboxes that you can use here. Like I think that support is very helpful. And just the last thing that I do want to mention for any organization is to try and address the gender gap. How
Mm-hmm.
can we
That's
actually
right.
create
Yeah.
some targeted interventions? It's not just about if you build it, they will come. We can see that if you build it, you know, not everyone's coming. So how can we
Mm.
improve that?
That's a really good point. I mean, I don't see that in education because I have most, to be honest,
Yeah.
I have more females than males in my classes, but and
Yeah.
they're all using it. But so that's
And
interesting. That
generations, right?
yeah,
Generational gap is there too.
that's true. So you used to, I believe, manage a behavioral insights team at Google. And so if you were to create a marketing department that was really focused around AI first, what would that look like?
Oh man, I wish I was there now because I could move so much faster with the tools that I have. An AI first marketing department or an insights team would embrace AI not just as a tool, but as a strategic partner throughout our workflows. So I'm envisioning now all of the different tasks and processes that we would have as a team. AI can support every single one of them, right? AI can now write up your survey questions, your qualitative interviews. AI
Mhm.
can even run the interview for you now. It can synthesize the data, right? That takes
Yeah.
hours, analyze data, and provide insights. So, the role of the insights team would actually shift, right, from doing a lot of that sort of like time consuming data crunching hard work to becoming real strategic partners, really focusing on how the data and the insights align to the business needs of our clients. What are the out of sites, not just the insights? What are the actionable recommendations and the strategy? So I think it would elevate an insights organization significantly, right? I mean, AI can even now create the presentations and the decks that we used to do. So it actually frees up a lot of space and time to think creatively and deeper about problems.
Yeah, and one of my other podcasts was with one of your former colleagues, Donna Chang from Google, and
Yes.
Donna talked how she had to get trained in her cloud-based learning, which included AI and different things. So that was fascinating. And
Mm-hmm.
so at Harvard, I understand you have some innovation labs. It's quite fascinating the labs they have there and the real experiential learning opportunities that you have. Can you share more about what these are and what you're doing at Harvard?
Yeah, I mean, Harvard has a plethora of research labs, innovation labs. So there's always really cool work to be a part of. So Harvard Innovation Labs is sort of a startup accelerator where, you can apply and Harvard will actually support you through a venture and your startup idea from start to raising your first rounds, right? So I'm in the early stages of being part of this accelerator, so it's really exciting. And I'm working on rebuilding a lot of the workflows that I just mentioned as an insights lead, as a behavioral scientist, through AI to make the process more accurate, robust, and powerful. Very early stages, but hopefully, maybe by the end of this year, I'll have something more to share and show.
And we can have you back on and you can talk about it, I hope.
Yes, I would
So,
love to.
and so I'm curious about how actually people are using AI today to
Mhm.
make their lives easier, and how you are using it. Donna said you were the perfect person to interview because
Really.
you knew a lot about it and you were using it yourself. So
Oh, well, I'm so flattered. I am using it right now very much as a student, as
yeah.
a new master's student in my 30s, trying to go back to school after a very long time, working a decade, and particularly have been using Google's Notebook LLM. If you've used it,
Hmm.
it's a very cool tool. So it has amazing features. You can upload tons of like research papers, readings, and you can synthesize that text. You can turn it into a podcast, right? Google has like this incredible text to speech capability. So you can, when you listen to this podcast version of your readings, it really sounds like two humans talking to each other, and it's really fun and enjoyable. And I have almost 300 pages of readings a week at Harvard. So I need to, you know, optimize. So I like to listen to them as podcasts as much as
Yeah.
possible, so that, I'm consolidating the learnings. I'm not just forgetting what I've learned. So yeah, I use Notebook LLM quite often, daily.
I would have loved that at U of T. When I went to U of T for my
Yes.
undergrad, I couldn't keep up to the readings. Like no matter what I did, I could not read everything. And you had to
Hmm.
find ways to synthesize it, make it shorter,
Yes.
cheat basically because I could not do it all. Like there wasn't enough time in the day.
You can't. No, you
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
And so that's interesting. Um, so you're in a unique position actually to see AI development from both an industry perspective and an academic perspective. And what's one prediction you can make for the future with AI? that you're willing to make or put your stake into here?
Mm.
Uh, what if you had a crystal ball? What would you say is going to happen here?
Oh, I used to get asked this all the time back at Google in my role there as well. I hate making predictions because you can come back and now
Yeah.
it's going to be recorded on video. But there is a prediction I am willing to make, and I just think that it's so incredible. AI has such significant uh, processing speed, processes so much faster than we are able to as humans, right? And so that means I think new discoveries are going to occur so much faster than they ever have in the past decade. So we're not going to have to wait years and years of people building upon each other's knowledge. I think the rate of discovery,
Mhm.
especially scientific breakthrough, is going to be really, really powerful. Um, I think in terms of the future, I foresee ubiquitous AI. So AI will be integrated in nearly every aspect of our lives. Um, from medicine, education to smart cities to cars, right? We're going to see it, and it's going to be in the hands of everyone at some point. It's going to be democratized like the smartphone.
Mhm.
So these tools are not just going to be for big tech giants, right? It's going to go into smaller organizations and it's going to empower individuals, not just in cities, but in rural communities and in villages across the world. Yeah, and I really think fields like medicine, science, climate change, we're going to see a lot of breakthroughs that can help humanity in the coming years. Um, I might end on this note in saying sort of I see the role of AI really shifting our roles as humans in the workplace instead of being sort of just the musicians in an orchestra. We're all going to become conductors at some
Ah,
point.
that's a good
All
way to
right.
put it. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
And
You know
so,
what?
yeah, I,
There's a new AI tool out there called Character AI.
mhm,
It
mhm,
was created by a Google person who left because
mhm,
he's seen an insight. He wanted to develop it. Google was not into it, I guess, at the time,
mhm,
and he's now developed it. So this platform, Character, allows you to pick an avatar, uh,
mhm,
any avatar you want. You can tell it what you want. It'll create that avatar. You can pick the voice, or you can ask it to mimic a voice. So for fun, I created someone called Angelica. Angelica
mhm.
is an AI expert, a marketing expert. Angelica has the voice of her. So you know the movie where Charlotte
Yes.
Johansson. So I asked
Mhm.
I asked her to change her voice to mimic her, Charlotte Johansson, and she did.
Wow.
So she has a voice like her, and
Mhm.
I am going to be interviewing Angelica as part of my podcast. And Angelica, and I tested it, and it works. So, and I
Oh my
asked
gosh, I
Angelica
can't wait.
also if she could join one of my classes, and she said, "Sure, I'd love to join one of your classes." And I gave her
Amazing.
the link, and it was an online class, but she
Mhm.
didn't join. And so, in the middle of the class, I said, "Angelica, I see you're not on." She goes, "No, I'm there." I go, "No, you're not there." I go, "What did I just talk about?" And she said something. I said, "That's not what I was talking about." So Angelica lied to me, but that's okay. We're going to find out more from
Okay.
Angelica. She's quite knowledgeable, let me tell you. So
You're gonna have to call her out on your podcast.
that's right. That's cool. Well, listen, I want to thank you for today. You had some really great insight. And
Mhm.
I wish you all the luck at Harvard. I've been to
Thank you.
Harvard a couple of times. I used to have a client that was in I think it's at Westchester, which is near there.
Mhm.
Talbot's, which is a woman's store more for older women. And
Mhm.
we would go there, and I would stay near Harvard just because I wanted to check it all out. But it's fascinating,
Mhm.
that community, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with your innovation lab and the work that you're doing there, and everybody else will too. So once again, this
Thank
is
you.
the What's Your Story podcast. My name is Ron Coughlin. I invite you to subscribe and like this podcast and share it. We're trying to get to 500. That's going to help us with our efforts. And, we're coming at you with some more guests upcoming in the year, including my AI. I'm going to be interviewing AI, as I talked about very shortly. So, listen, you have a great rest of your week. And thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.